by my old school friend, and I try to live up to the name Flash. My real bombing years are from 1983 and through 1987. By then I get arrested, jump into the military like most of us, and disappear. In Chicago, it's like that compared to others. So why is it so hard or why did it take so long for Chicago to start graffiti? If you look at the other cities, Philadelphia, New York, they started in the 70s. And I always say it's because of the gangs. We fight. As a youth, we did fight. We fought 125,000 gang members in Chicago. I think that's what the Gang Crime Commission says that there are. And I'm nervous. I've never spoken.
Sound great. You sound great.
To see what my community did when they brought me back is probably a little bit emotional, because in those days, all these guys that you see did fight at one point or another to paint. There was gangs on every corner, Wicker Park, Little Square, Humble Park, 10 per corner, Rockville Potomac, any street. Wherever there's a camera now, the reason that camera's there is because there was a gang in that corner selling drugs. So you look right now and you look up those cameras, you're going to be like, wow, 10 guys in every corner. So these guys, after I left, they had to fight for their lives to keep this art going in Chicago, because everybody looked at us like if we were stupid. It wasn't looked upon in Chicago. You know, we had an administration that was after us afterwards in the 90s. That's why we have the Brown. That's why we have the felony charges. That's why these artists can't work in Chicago, which is why I'm kind of mad, because I'm one of the few and the lucky ones. I got out in '87, and I became a mechanical engineer. I went out to become a productive member. I do testing for a sports company, and for 20 years I became a mechanical engineer. I was able to support my family. So, it happened with the invention of the internet. In 2003, everybody starts talking on the internet. I started even getting emails from radio stations, DJ Third Radio, and we all started talking again. And what I saw was a community still here, and this community welcomed me back. And maybe that's why, if you see the display that I have upstairs, it is of that day and memorial, and in the magazine that's given out for this session, you'll see that I talk about it. In 2003, with the help of Zor and a bunch of other crews and Static and everybody, we pulled together and painted 2 football fields worth of graffiti on a viaduct that nobody wanted, on 59th and Western. They had history. They had done murals there before, but it's one of the most dangerous walls to paint. It's underneath the expressway. Underneath the Sioux Line train, and it's dark. But we all got together that weekend, and from then on, I wanted to be part of this community, and that's all I am. I'm just a little piece of a community that has grown, and now that the city is starting to respect us and acknowledge us, we need to respect those old schoolers that were there before us. That's who I am. I represent the guys that ain't around, the ones that got killed, stabbed, whatever happened. But I know that by the time I was 15, I had gone to enough funerals that I didn't want to be a gang member. I didn't want to see the black and blue, the black and yellow. That's all we had for walls back then. If you walk through those neighborhoods, that's all you had, just 2 colors, black and whatever the gang color was in that neighborhood. And you watched those walls, and you protected those walls. You died for those walls. And it's a wall, So to see this transformation of an art form that came from New York and a nonviolent movement, I want to be part of it. I want these kids to know that they can go paint whenever they want, whatever color they want, whatever they feel. And that's why I try to work with my community.
Hell yeah. There you go.
Thank you, Flash.
want it all.
Okay.
Can I say something? I want to say thanks for being a big brother to me, and just I can relate to all those. I remember times when I had to come to your neighborhood and your house, and it'd be 20, 30 guys, and I just mention your name. And they, all right, cool, go ahead. I remember plenty of times when I was 13, 14. I love you, man.
No problem. And to see Trickster develop to the artist that he has become, in a leader sense, in his art form, I want to be part. Who doesn't want to be part of that? I have a wall now in Logan Square. I call it Project Logan. I try to rotate the artists. I know a lot of people get mad, but in graffiti in Chicago, this city allowed a budget of $3 million of brown. So we're already used to being buffed. We've all been buffed.
$3 million.
And I don't have a problem buffing it, continuing to put up this art form that we, the old school, are going to lead.
Hey, what do you mean the $3 million budget of brown? What does that mean?
Well, the city has budgets. There's how many, but each park district has a budget for anti-graffiti. They tell you it's $2 million to remove tags off of a bench in a park. There's a $3 million for streets and sanitation to spread that brown or baking soda or whatever. And then the CTA has its own budget. So all these budgets, they're coming out of us. They're telling us it's for us. But if we allow these kids, if we stop attacking these store owners and let the kids get the walls, I think that budget goes way down.
Yep, I agree.
No matter what, every day a kid's going to wake up and tag. That's even now more than ever with GTA and how many tags you're going to get up and down. The influence now is 10 times stronger. So for people to come up to me and ask me, well, what about the tag? I'm not going to wake up and worry about the person that wakes up and decides he wants to put his name on the wall. But I can't worry about my neighborhood and what I'm doing to show a good appearance for our Chicago graffiti. If you look in the book that somebody mentioned, the history of American graffiti, you'll see everybody that you saw in here. We're the pioneers. We started in art form, but now Germany, everybody else is allowed to do it and leave it up forever. But the city, for many years, 10 years, or since the Dayton administration, had you believing that that was violent, that we deserve to be locked up with criminals, stabbers, cocaine abusers. A felony is a felony now. Some of these people can't even get jobs. You gotta leave the city. Go ahead.
You just mentioned Germany. I'm not sure if too many of you know it, but the Berlin Wall is completely covered with graffiti and tagging by Germans and different European things. I haven't been there, but I've seen photos there. Imagine that complete Berlin Wall covered with tags and graffiti. But I also was at where is your Logan Square location for your wall?
Milwaukee and Fullerton behind Liberty Bank. And there's a couple of others that we have worked with, Side of Art Space. The one that he was talking about is on Milwaukee, Butera, and then on the next block, 36 in Albany, 59th in Western, 27th in Kedzie, 23rd in Kedzie, 25th in Kedzie. It's all over the city. You just gotta look around.
Great, bro. Excellent.
Hello, my name is Bill Wayna. I'm one of the artists from the show. I'm in the catalog, page 37, if I'm correct. I basically just want to key in a lot of the things that I've heard already, a lot of the guys have mentioned. It's kind of the same thing, but I know we all have the same feelings about it and what has come of the genre so far. I guess I want to start by what Orko said, graffiti saved my life. And I think that's true for a lot of us in here. Growing up in the 80s, and I'm one of the younger of the older guys, so not nearly as prolific, but I've still seen and been around to see what I've done. Gangs were everywhere in Chicago. Every neighborhood, every street, it was gangs. That's basically, you grew up, you became part of it. Hip-hop emerged in Chicago in around 1982, 1983, and with hip-hop came an outlet for a lot of us to kind of separate ourselves from the gangs. Not just graffiti, but just the whole ideology of hip-hop itself and all the elements combined. Graffiti is probably the least respected, but one of the most important of all the elements of hip-hop. We're basically the advertising mechanism behind the music and the shows and so forth. But understood it's illegal and it's destruction. When I got involved in graffiti, I was 11, 12 years old. Like most of us, I think we came from somewhat broken homes. And the gangs were all around us. And just having that artistic intention kind of drove us to do what we did. Never hurting anybody, never intending to hurt anybody, definitely maybe destroying some property and stuff along the lines. I know I was an angry youth, so I took a lot of it out on the streets. I wasn't so much of a muralist as much as I was a bomber back then. And part of the artwork that I put into this show is me reverting back to that state. Nowadays, I'm a contractor, I own my own company. I recently opened up a space called Silo Art Space where we try to not only show the work that we create, but bring other artists in to show their work and do what we can to help support the genre of street art. I got out of graffiti in 1990, 91 when I graduated high school. I went to jail went to the boys' home a few times, fined by the city, all kinds of stuff that made me kind of think, once I graduated high school, I needed to shape up. I never thought this would be something that continued on forever. I went to the military, I served in the Marine Corps in the 90s. I came back, I started working as a carpenter, and I built myself up from that. A couple of my friends, who are more than friends but family as far as the graffiti is concerned, kind of pulled me back in the early 2000s with this thing that Flash was talking about. We're Third Rail, he ran a radio show and he got us all together for basically it was a 20-year reunion of hip-hop. Turned into be 2-mile-long murals on 59th Street. And from that point on, I think we've all been kind of painting together and doing things since then. The older of us who have had the opportunity have done a lot to try to help the community and help the younger kids. We understand ourselves. Growing up, we didn't really have, I didn't have the opportunity to just go to art college. My family couldn't finance it. My school that I came from wasn't where I was going to be getting any of those grants or anything. We learned our art on the street, and we taught ourselves. I do the same in life with carpentry. I taught myself carpentry. I didn't go to school. I learned it from being in the field and working on it. And in that, as children, we developed and grew this craft, and which is now starting to be respected as an art form. So I think the show is a great opportunity for us to be seen on another standard, and all the levels of the different artists that participate. A lot of us have gone into the fine art realm. A lot of us still like to stay on the underground realm. There's pros and cons across the board of growing up or keeping to yourself to maintain your credibility within the genre, or to blow up and not lose your credibility within the genre for the sake of selling yourself out for your art. And so the walls, doing mural walls is very important. I've been doing what I could to try to get mural walls and bring other artists into it. Ish and Zor and a handful of artists have just recently painted Flash. This is the wall that we recently painted in Portage Park neighborhood off of Irving and Milwaukee area. And in that, I did a lot of work with the aldermen and the arts district to try to get them to understand that first of all, nobody was being paid for this. This is something that we all did out of the love for art. We financed ourselves. I find it really hard to put an artist to work, extra duty, proposing something you get feedback that whether or not it's accepted and redo it, especially when they're not getting paid for it. And the creativity from graffiti art comes from out of nowhere. We all do our tentative planning and stuff like that, but I think as anything in life, plans never go exactly according to schedule. But with the graffiti artists, they're all very versatile. And when you put us together on something, we can all create beautiful creations. And it's a little hard to kind of pre-explain or even explain it after the fact of what it is, where it came from, why it is what it is. It's more of just appreciating the beauty of any abstract art that you would see. I guess I'm getting a little off tangents, but basically I just wanted, I want to thank Nathan for giving us all the opportunity. I want to thank all the artists who are part of this. And let everybody know I'll do what I could on my part. A lot of these guys are very knowledgeable, work very well with children, and hopefully this continues and gives us a bigger opportunity along the line.